Do you miss playing football, man?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think anybody that played for, as long as I played, they miss it. But, like, not to the point of I sit there and think about, oh, should I retire when I retire? No. But
Seems like you have a pretty good fucking time now.
Hey, man, listen, I just want to be in the woods, man.
Yeah.
Do I miss it? Yeah. Like, do I miss putting hands? Yeah, I miss the violence and the aggressiveness. And really, I think second to that, or probably tied with that, is just the locker room atmosphere.
Being around the boys, right?
Yeah, being around the boys, man, and in the money. But that's about it. I don't miss every year. The off season being about getting back healthy.
So hard, man.
Yeah,
so hard.
I don't miss that shit because I pour that into my hunting, man. Like there's being able to, and again, I ain't highlighting myself. I'm just trying to explain, my point here. Like to be able to be 280 and do the shit I do, man. Fucking, it just takes some shit between the ears. It ain't got nothing to do with being super, super great shape. I'm in decent enough shape, but I just ain't gonna quit shit. Like, and that's what it comes down to. You don't have to come out here if you're coming from out east and be Cameron Haynes. You just need to be tough. You just need to be able to mentally be like, yeah, I'm hurting, but I'm not gonna die.
Yeah, and don't be stupid, man. Like,
yeah, I agree.
As much as I love Cam, I love him to death, man. He's been nothing but supportive of us. He's been nothing but genuine and nice to me. But like, you don't have to put a whole fucking 2 quarters on your back and try to hike out, right? Like not even a quarter. I mean, there's a thing called boning out, right? Like there's ways to work smarter, not harder. I mean, Cam always chooses the harder because it's fucking Cameron Haynes, dude. Like, but yeah, don't just adopt all philosophies. Like,
no, you're exactly right. Like, I get people that hit me up and they're like asking me about OTC and shit, and they're like, "Well, I've got my camp pinned in here," and I'm like, "How far is that pin?" And they're like 4.5 miles from the road, and I'm like, "Have you ever been out west?" And it's like, "No, I'm from Kentucky," and it's like 4.5 miles in the terrain that you just sent me the pin of.
There might be a 300-foot cliff in the way.
Not more than that. I mean, it might be 2,500 foot of vert, and if you've never climbed 2,500 foot of vert, it's going to whoop your ass.
Definitely learn how to read a topo map.
Learn how to read a topo map.
Yeah.
And if you've never been out here and walked around this terrain, walked around this elevation, 4.5 miles in tough country, it'll wear on you. I'm not saying
deadfall is the worst, man.
Between the deadfall and the the elevation, the steepness of the terrain and stuff like that, 4.5 miles can be a bitch if you're not used to it. I mean, 4.5 miles out east is probably going to feel not a whole lot different than 4.5 miles in Georgia, but 4.5 miles west of I-25 is going to feel a little different. I tell people that. I'm like, I'm not saying to change your plan, but just understand if you're in 4.5 miles and say you go in another 3 miles in the morning to go hunt, you're 7.5 miles from the truck. You drop an elk, you got 7.5 miles to take that thing back to the truck. You just got to take all that stuff in.
And if you're hunting in archery season, it can be 90 fucking degrees, man. It's unbelievable how warm it can be.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then how cold it gets at night. You know? So it's like that meat can spoil real fast.
Quick, man.
Yeah. Or you can get caught in some weather real quick too. I've had it snow on my ass too. Like
I've been caught in a storm every year that I've been running. At least once, whether it's a hailstorm or, like you said, a snowstorm.
Oh, lightning's for fucking real.
I'm more scared
as soon as you get above tree line, that's probably the scariest thing to me in the backcountry.
That's what I was just about to say.
Like all the mountain lions, all the bears, any sort of predators that are out there, I would say falling is number one and breaking something, right? Yep. Just by accident. Because sometimes you're doing some hairy shit, dude. Oh, yeah. Like, especially when you get above tree line. And then lightning is... And it'll come out of nowhere, man. Like
and the wind too.
Yeah,
because you camp around trees, and all of a sudden you see the trees doing like a 12-foot difference in the the wind's just swaying them, and you're like, damn, maybe I shouldn't. And, they say not to camp around the dead trees and stuff like that, but shit, man, the wind, you get a microburst come through 80-mile-an-hour wind, that can blow over a green tree any day.
Oh man, and they're so big.
They're so big, and I don't particularly love just camping out above tree line. Like tundra, that type of stuff, I've done it. Went on a sheep hunt last year. I camped above tree line. I like to sleep. So, like, a lot of times you're going to be a little more exposed to the wind up there, depending on, obviously, the wind direction.
I sleep with the grouse, man, because they taste good and they have a little bit of cover, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
And my point is exactly what you just said is if there's a bunch of wind flapping my tent at night, I'm not getting a whole lot of sleep. So I would just assume sleep a little bit lower and climb a little farther in the morning just to be able to get that sleep, man.
Yeah.
And that's just me. And not to say it's going to be windblown, but in my experience, a lot of times You're going to be more wind blown at the very spine of a ridge.
Well, not to
100
mention
foot
if you're
off of
trying
it.
to have a fire or anything too, man. Like, good luck, dude.
Yep.
80-mile-an-hour winds and trying to have a fire, you're like,
Exactly.
you're gonna burn down the goddamn forest, bro.
Exactly.
Like,
Not good.
yeah, definitely try to. Those little bowls too are pretty nice. If you get in a nice little bowl or something, can be good. But.
Oh man, 100%. You'll have the wind ripping up top if you drop down 100 foot, and you can just hear the wind ripping over the top of the ridge, but you're safe right out of harm's way, tucked down deep in that. Yeah.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you out there? I mean.
Probably the moose. I think I told about. I don't know if I did or not.
Did we talk about that, dude? The last time
remember.
we podcast, we can't go 4 hours today, but
I know that was a good
we
one.
set a fucking record in here. We were in here for 4 hours. I think there was 2 bottles of tequila. We're already halfway through this one, so.